boys! At London Airport, found a nice little quiet bit to vlog. Just because it's the first time I'm vlogging and I feel like a c*** holding a camera like this. Nearly bought a selfie stick, which would have been even worse. But yeah, we're getting ready, repping Stormers. Flight leaves in about an hour. Got 2 flights, like 13 hours of flying, which sucks. And yeah, let's fucking get it, boys.
What's happening, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Here it is, the video I know you've all been waiting for. So firstly, I want to apologize for how long it's taken to get out. It was just a nightmare trying to orchestrate everything and get all the footage together. If you are new to the channel and you don't know what this video is about, earlier in the year, I won a $100,000 package with ACR Poker. If you haven't already seen it, I'd recommend checking out the video I published back in March called Something About Winning a 100K Package. Gives you kind of a rundown of exactly how I won it and what's included. To give you guys a little recap, I won a VIP package that included $100,000 in buy-ins to events of my choice at the Triton Super High Roller Series in Vietnam. Not only that though, it included a 12-night stay at the Hoi An resort just outside of Da Nang in Vietnam, as well as business class flights with Vietnam Airlines. The idea behind it, that Phil Nagy, the ACR CEO, he wanted to give like a taste of the high roller lifestyle. And as you can see from the footage on the plane, it really was VIP treatment. So after 2 flights and around 16-17 hours of traveling, I finally got to Da Nang Airport, where I even had a transfer waiting for me to take me to the hotel. And this hotel was lush, the nicest hotel I'd ever stayed in by far. And I've stayed in some pretty decent rooms in Vegas over the years. So really funny story about the hotel. Whilst the room was covered by ACR, they asked for either a deposit or resort fees. I can't remember exactly. But the guy behind the desk said it was 10 million Vietnamese dong, and my stomach just dropped. I was like, what do you mean 10 million? Anyways, I asked how much that was in USD, and it converts to about $400. So the panic was over.
So I'm gonna have to give you a tour of the hotel. I've just got here, knackered, but check room out. This is like nothing I've seen in my entire life. Oh my god, look at the fucking view, man. Jesus Christ. Spent the entire time checking in and being brought up to my room, just trying not to giggle, because it was just so ridiculous how nice everything is. But check, guys, my view, what I get to wake up to every morning for the next nearly 2 weeks. You love to see it, man. So today is the day, 25K, Super Millions, which I'm going to be playing, which I'm fucking extremely excited. I'm not even nervous, I'm just ready to bin some regs. So yeah, it is like 7 AM now, doesn't start till 1. I think I'm probably going to late reg. I think late reg makes most sense. 1, so I'm not playing too many hours and I'm not awake too many hours, and 2, because very deep at the start, and if I get put on a tough table, I don't think it's wise me playing 250 deep against somebody like fucking Linus. So yeah, we'll reg when there's like 100 big blinds and hopefully bin some regs. So today I'm going to play the 25K buy-in Super Millions, which, I mean, it starts soon, shouldn't I go and reg?
So after a reasonable night's rest, I was ready to play my first ever super high roller. Now, bear in mind, the highest buy-in I'd played up until this point, I think, was 1.2k euros. So around $1,500 USD. And I was about to be playing in a $25,000 buy-in. My biggest cash up to this point was around $12,000. So I was literally buying into a tournament twice the size of my biggest ever score. In terms of nerves, I wasn't actually that nervous when I was buying in. But when I sit down, I've got Seth Davis to my direct left and Victor Malinowski, aka Limitless, to his left. And I've got to admit, I was shitting myself a little bit. Shout out to Seth though, who was really, really nice. Introduced himself and just made me feel really comfortable, which was nice. Now, maybe he was just being nice to the fish, but I appreciate it nonetheless. So when I played my first ever World Series event, which was over 10 years ago now, I got some really good advice from a friend, and that was play the game, not the occasion. So even if some of these guys are sickos, this is still a game I'm good at. I did literally get called 4-bet by Limitless the first hand that I played, but honestly, after about 10 minutes, I just really settled in and was just focused on playing the game. And after about 40 minutes, we get our first real interesting hand. So starting stack was 250k in the 25k millions, and I think at this point we'd won some small pots but had still around starting stack. Blinds at 1k at 2.5k. The cutoff, who I didn't actually know at the time but is Roland Rakita, that some of you might know. He opens to 5k and we look down at ace jack off in the small blind. So obviously we are going to VPip this hand. The only question is whether we want to call or 3-bet. I think against cutoff's range, our hand is definitely good enough to 3-bet here, and Rakita had been pretty active so far, so I decided to make it 22k. The big blind folds and Rakita calls, so we go heads up to the flop. Flop comes at 8-5 deuce with a couple of spades, and I decided to go for the c-bet here. So I think if we don't have a spade, maybe just check folding, but when we have a spade, even if it's the jack, not only do we have more equity in the hand than when we don't hold a spade, but we also block some hands that villain will continue with. So we block hands like queen 10 and 10 jack of spades, which are just easy continues. So this means we generate more folds, and so our c-bet performs better. So I go for a bet of just under half pot, 20k, and Rakita calls. Turn comes a 9 of spades, and I decide to go for the bet again here. Again, using the jack of spades blocker, blocking some flushes, and even when we do get called, we can still have pretty good equity against a decent amount of hands if he has like pocket 7s or pocket 6s. And we can potentially fold out some of these hands if they don't have a spade. So I go for the bet of 35k, as this is a spot where I'm still betting one pair hands, so I don't have to make it absolutely huge. Unfortunately, villain calls once again, and I remember thinking I'm probably just going to give up on a load of rivers. If we hit an ace or a jack, it's going to give us a bit of showdown, as will obviously a spade. So I was just begging to see a card that I would like. River unfortunately breaks out, comes the 10 of diamonds, but I do think this card probably favors us a little bit more. So villain shouldn't really have queen jack here that isn't queen jack of spades specifically, which obviously we block, and so I don't think it improves him all in general. I thought about this spot for a while. If I remember correctly, I actually used a time bank chip, and I was thinking about what hands I wanted to bluff here, how many worse hands I can actually have, and then what's going to actually fold versus a bet. And after about a minute or so, I finally decide to put on my big boy pants and fire out the third barrel. Literally 40 minutes into a 25k buy-in, and I'm triple barreling with fucking nothing. So I decided to bet 80k, which I quite like. I decided that I was going to shove when I hold the ace of spades, because I think villain's most likely flushes are going to be nut flushes. So when we use this size, we can still value bet worse hands like straights, maybe like 10-9 suited, and sets as well. And Rakita goes into the tank. Now, anyone that's ever bluffed in a big spot before, especially in live poker, knows the feeling of barreling the river as a bluff. All kinds of things go through your mind. The thought of, oh my fucking god, please fold, is being at the forefront. Often accompanied by, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Which is exactly how I was feeling when he was tanking. After what felt like an eternity, he throws in a chip to call. I say you win and flip over the ace jack. And Roland shows king 4 of spades for the second nut flush. So he only had about 100k back after the 80k. So this is obviously a hand that wants to shove for the rest in theory. But I guess he just figured that I was a wreck and just wouldn't really be bluffing often here. So after 40 minutes into my first 25k, my first buy-in above $1,500, and I've absolutely dusted it off. But I didn't let it get to me. I still had over 30 big blinds at least, so still a playable stack. Didn't really pick up many hands afterwards, and a few levels later, I looked down at ace-8 offsuit in the cutoff, and we've only got 10 bigs at this point. Big blind was 6k. I just shove it in. It folds around to the big blind, who snaps it off with ace-queen. Board runs out a bunch of bricks, and just like that, we are out of the 25k. Alright, so bad news is I bust. Good news. Nice new hat. It cost me 25k. I actually ran the spot in GTO Wizard just to see what we're doing, mainly on the river, and ace jack is always barreling with this combo, which was ace of diamonds, jack of spades. But yeah, pretty annoying to dust it in a 25k, but at least I'm a fucking adult. What's happening, guys? Look at this. Go for a nice little walk. It is Wednesday, Thursday, I don't know. So I think I'm going to play the 15k today. That's going to be the plan. If I play the 15k, I would assume that's going to be a lot softer than the 30k, and I can fire 2 bullets if needed. Just give me more chance, you know, to cash, to get on a feature table, which is all I really want now that I played the 25k yesterday. So I bust that yesterday, didn't feel nervous at all. Just frustrated I got no cards, man. Like, I bluffed off most of my stack with ace jack, and then I got fucking dealt shit. Like, I had pocket 2s and ace jack. Like, they were the best hands I got all day. So hopefully we'll get something going today, and one time we'll make a feature table. Either way, look, man. Like, it's pretty hard to be tilted when you're somewhere this lush and it didn't cost you a fucking penny. Like, come on, man. Like,
I'm genuinely really enjoying myself, trying not to give a shit about cashing, and yeah, we'll just see how we get on.
So my original plan was to play the $30,000 buy-in no limit hold'em event, but I figured that I could play the 15k and then have 2 bullets in that instead. Or if I only used 1 bullet in the 15k, I could fire 2 at the $20,000 mystery bounty if needed. Obviously, it makes most sense to have as many bullets as possible and play the smaller buy-ins as a way of reducing variance in the highest buy-ins of my career. So I casually flick into the 15k, seeing as, you know, I'm a certified high roller now. Starting stacking this was 200k, I think, and for the first 2 hours, I played very little pots. I was super frustrated at the time as well, like I just really wanted good distribution when I'm playing such insanely high buy-ins. I was down to somewhere around half starting stack when I did manage to pick up kings and win a small pot against ACR Pro and Marquez, but it was an ace-high board, so I couldn't exactly get a double. A few hands after this, we're in the big blind. We start the hand with about 30 big blinds. Falls to the button, who I think was a recreational, who was a very aggressive young Asian guy. He opens to 10k at 4k big blind, and we defend 7-5 of spades. Flop comes at 9-8-5 with 1 spade, giving us bottom pair and a gutter. I check, and button fires out a small c-bet of 10k. I think check raising here once in a while, but mainly just calling, so I do just that. Turn comes a 3 of diamonds, bringing a flush draw. I check, and villain fires out another bet, this time going for around 3/4 pot. I think that we could fold here, but there's just a load of obvious bluffs that we unblock. So hands like Queen 10 and 10 Jack, diamond draws, and not to mention we also block the strongest parts of his range. We block the straight, and we also block bottom set. So I think call here is probably the best option, and obviously I'm hoping to either improve or just see a check back on the river. River comes the ace of clubs, so we do not improve, and neither do we see a check back. Villain announces all in pretty quickly. And I decided to give this one some thought. So this card I think is just always going to barrel on when he's bluffing. And I think it forces him to check back some hands that were happy betting on earlier streets as well. So like hands like King 9 or Pocket 10s and Pocket Jacks, I don't really expect him to bet. I also don't expect Villain to have too many ace-x hands that are actually happy shoving the river once he's taken this exact line. For example, hands like A7 of diamonds might consider checking back with just 1 pair on a really sketchy board. And I also think when he shoves as quickly as he did, he's more likely to be a bit more polar. So I really don't think the ace is going to help him that much at all, unless he has ace-9 specifically where his top pair improves to top 2. And given when our opponent is polar, we want to focus more on blocking the strongest parts of his range, our hand does that somewhat. I'm pretty sure at the time I used most, if not all of my time banks, and I was thinking about potential bluff candidates versus value. In terms of bluffs, I expected to see, you know, 10 Jack, Queen Jack, some King 7 or Queen 7 suited type hands, general just missed diamond draws. In terms of value, I expect to see sets, straights, and I think ace-9 specifically. This is again with the assumption that, especially with how quickly he shoved the river, I don't think he's going to have that many ace-x hands. I figure some are going to check back. The best part about this hand is I literally laughed out loud before making the call. The fact that I was about to call bottom pair for my tournament live in a $15,000 buy-in was genuinely fucking hilarious to me. So I eventually throw a chip over the line, the dealer announces call, and our opponent shows us ace-8 for a rivered 2 pair. Now, obviously, this one stung. I was partly right, given that I expected to see 2 pair plus for value, but I incorrectly assumed his range was a little bit more polar on the turn, meaning that I wasn't really expecting hands like ace-8 or ace-5 to bet for that size on the turn. So yeah, our first 2 super high roller tournaments ever, and I triple barrel most of my stack off in the first one and call it off with bottom pair in the second. Which on the surface isn't really ideal, but I was happy that I was an adult about it. I thought the first spot was a good one to bluff, and I stand by it, and I thought he would have an abundance of bluffs in the second. Anyway, I did say my plan was to re-enter, so I took a little breather, make sure that I was feeling okay, playing okay. I actually went back to the room and ran the spot in GTO Wizard, and as you can see here, we do not call this hand on the river. All streets were played GTO up until this point, we never fold the turn, but the solver actually shoves some 9x and all of pocket 10s through to pocket kings in villain shoes. It also gives up reasonably often with some of the bluffs, so I actually don't hate this call. So I do re-enter, we flick in again, praying for some good cards and maybe some easier spots. So bullet number 2 in the 15k, and this time we got off to a slightly better start. Played a really interesting hand, blind versus blind against fade or halt. So blinds are still 2k, 4k, he limps to small blind, and we check back a7 offsuit. I think it's good to check back some ace-x, and this is one of the worst aces we can have. Flop comes at ace-9-5 for 2 clubs, and Fedor leads for 6k. I expect him to lead quite a lot here. We're kind of capped, I guess, in that we're never going to have like aces or nines. Even ace-9, I'm going to find a raise pre-flop sometimes. So I just call, and the turn comes a queen of diamonds, bringing in a second flush draw. Fedor checks, and I decide to go for a big bet here of 20k. So this is one of the best top pairs that we can actually have, seeing that we're going to raise ace-10 plus pre-flop, and with this hand we actually unblock the flush draws that we can get value from. Fedor thinks for a little bit and then elects to raise to 55k. Pretty small raise, and given that, again, this is one of our best one-pair hands, I think calling in position is best and playing a river. River comes a bricky, 4 of spades, and Fedor slows down and checks. And I think we have a pretty clear check back. There's definitely a world where villain's going to raise the turn with like ace-king, ace-queen, and now check in order to catch some bluffs from maybe missed flush draws. So I don't think we can bet for value. I check back, and Fedor shows 5-6 of hearts. Not really sure what this bet was about. Maybe like a thin value, like mergey kind of play, where he might actually get value on the turn from worse hands and possibly even fold out some better hands. Or just hands that have like reasonable equity over cards. I don't really know, but what I do know is that we take down a much needed pot. So we're finally above starting stack in a Triton for the first time. So we've got about 280k when the hijack opens to 18k. This is a 8k big blind. We look down at king queen off on the button with a little bit over 30 big blinds. Just a really good hand to call in position, I think, at this stack depth. So we don't really want to 3-bet and face a 4-bet with a hand this good. And when we flat, we keep in hands that we dominate, like queen jack and king 10 and stuff like that. Big blind gets out the way, so we go heads up to a king jack 4 board with 2 hearts. Hijack continues for 21k and I call. Turn comes the 2 of clubs. Hijack fires once again, this time going for 59k. Not much reason to raise here, so we just peel again. And the river pairs the 4. The hijack fires the 3rd barrel, betting 166k into a little over 200. So every hand that I played at Triton, I genuinely took my time over every decision, just really making sure the action I was going to take, I was like 100% on board with. So here my instinct was just like, yeah, snap call. There is a world where maybe we beat some thin value, and given the actual action, we are really, really high up in our range. We're basically always going to be 3-betting ace-king, aces, even jacks, so there's not really many better hands that we actually get to the river with. So maybe after 30 seconds of thought, I throw in a chip to call. Villain just snap mucks, putting us to nearly 600k. I do lose a few chips, doubling up pun at punsery. A few orbits later, we had king queen suited against ace queen suited. So we are down to less than 500k when we pick up king 9 suited. We are in early position, but I still think it's a very playable hand, even at this stack depth. So I go for the min raise to 40k. So the small blind calls, who is, I think, a Triton regular, Tan Xuan, if I'm saying that right. The big blind gets out of the way, and so we go heads up to a flop of king 10-6 with a couple of spades. Small blind checks, and I decide to check back here. So king 8 and king 9 are going to be the worst king X hands that I raise pre-flop with from these positions. So I tend to favor checkbacks with my top pairs that are going to have the worst kicker. So this allows bluffs, and there's now fewer hands that we can actually value bet against. So if we have ace-king, for example, villain can have like king queen, king jack, king 9 type hands that are all going to call. But when we have king 9, we lose to those like ace-king, king queen, king jack hands. So we do check back. The turn comes the 8 of clubs, and Tan now leads for 70k, and I think we just have a pretty easy call. River comes the 4 of clubs, a total brick, and Tan leads again, this time going for pot. So very similar to the last time we played, this is a pretty simple decision as far as I'm concerned. Again, we're really high up in range, and part of the reason that we check back on the flop is to allow bluffs. So there's no point getting to the river and then just folding. So we do call. Tan says nice hand and shows queen jack offsuit, putting us up to nearly 900k. The last few levels of the day are pretty tough. I remember not getting any real spots, lost a few hands, but we do end up making our first ever Triton Super High Roller Day 2 with nearly 600k. All right, boys. It is Friday. I've made day 2 of a Super High Roller event, of a Triton Super High Roller in Vietnam. What a fucking sentence that is to say. I am short. I have 15 big blinds, which isn't ideal. We're about 15 off the money. Restart in about 2 hours from now, having my daily stroll on the beach. Just look at it, man. God damn it. So yeah, we'll see how we get on. Trying not to let my mind wander and preemptively spend the 600k there is up top. 15 big blinds, we all know how tournaments go, boys. So we'll just see what happens, really. But you're saying there's a chance. I would like to hereby announce, though, that I am officially using my one time. So if the poker gods are listening, this is my one time, that I'm the official one time, okay? So just getting that out there, right? Worst comes to worst, we bust, we make no money. Can I even really be pissed off? I bust Fedor Holtz in a fucking tournament, man. I bust Fedor in a 15k. Also, he's an absolute sweetheart. The fucking, by far the nicest guy I've spoke to here. Like, really friendly, really welcoming. He knew I want a package and was like, oh, how you finding it? So, really, just really cool guy. And yeah, hopefully we can get something going. So our first ever day 2 at a Triton event. Stacks were pretty shallow, so 15 big blinds was kind of plenty. Now, I didn't record any hands because Triton have an app which has a live chip count. So every table had someone standing behind the dealer who would manually record all the hands. So the stacks would be updated. If you were playing in the Triton events, this would be updated basically in real time, which was amazing because then you can see all the stacks all around the room without getting out your seat. But if you were only a viewer, for example, if you had the app but you weren't playing, then there was a slight delay for obvious reasons. So because I didn't want to spoil, I didn't post any hands on Instagram where I was updating. I do remember winning a reasonable amount of pots at non-showdown and got myself to over 1.5 million chips, I think. And soon enough, we were approaching the bubble.
We currently have 8 stacks, all trying to sneak their way into the money. Mr. Andrew Leatham that we were talking about, forced all in from the big. Our man's taking a nap in between hands. You know, he knows he's here for the long haul if he wants to win this one. Wow, what a horrible hand to wake up with. Forced all in. Is that King of Hearts and King of Spades, 9-4, up against a flopped. Sorry, I do apologize.
Got outs.
Queen, he does have outs. Flopped middle pair. Easy, it's 4 across, but not the right kind. A 9 or a 4 for Andrew, whereas he's going to be our stone bubble boy, and the deuce of spades seals Andrew's fate.
And just like that, I had my first Triton cash worth $30,000 on the dot. So the bubble was relatively painless, but I was all in with queens at one point and got the fold, I think 2 off the money. So getting ITM just gave such a huge feeling of relief. But obviously it wasn't over, and so given the amount of shorties as well, it wasn't long before there was 16 players left, and there was a redraw for the final 2 tables.
But this one that I want to point out and focus on is the appearance of a Mark Rubathan. Largest ever live buy-in by more than 10x. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, looking at his Hender Mob, his biggest buy-in prior to this was a €1,200 buy-in. Has now smashed his previous best cash by almost 3x, I believe, 2.5x, 3x. So he's in the middle of the pack with 19 bigs. Do you think there's going to be a threshold that will be crossed where the nerves and the pressure really kick in for him? Because as if this isn't insane enough already that he's in Vietnam playing these high stakes, he now finds himself in the money with 600,000 for first.
Yeah, well, he got through the first hurdle, which is making into the money. That feels very good. Right now, he knows that the pay jumps are a little bit smaller until we get to the final table. But if he can reach that final table, there could be some nerves coming to play. He needs to play his game. Stacks are a little bit more shallow, so he really shouldn't be too much of a difference in his play. But I'm excited to watch him make a deep run here. It's really exciting to see like a qualifier like playing such a big stakes that he doesn't normally do.
Yeah, it's the poker dream, right?
Every little bit helps, by the way, Randy, and I know that sounds self-evident, but when you've got 30-minute levels on your hands, you just have to cobble away and keep pace with the ever-increasing blinds, or your stack just gets diluted into nothingness. And on that topic, up go those blinds, 50 and 125,000 now.
So with the table redraw, we managed to make the feature fucking table. I wasn't actually nervous in the slightest at this point. I was genuinely just so excited that I made a feature table. All I really wanted was for you guys back home to be able to sweat. So as you can see, we get sandwiched between 2 guys that you may have heard of, Adrian Mateus and Linus Love, and we are one of the shortest stacks on this table.
Yeah, not going to bother. Is Jack 4 off enough, though?
It hurts. You can feel it.
He's got the big blind and the big blind ante already in the middle.
Just wondering how many. I mean, Could be up against like 10-9s, 10-8s. These hands would jam. 8-9s. Is there some pay jumps around the corner? That's another question you might want to look into.
Thank you.
C is in the tank. Big blind ante hurts. Goes for it.
Yeah, decides he's going to take a stand in this spot here. Jack 4 obviously not performing great against Ace King.
Jack 4 off?
Naughty line.
But he knows the Jack 4 hand.
At least you tanked.
At least you tank, says Herens. Linus being called naughty. And a naughty little gutter ball on the 8 high board here as Lolliger picks up added outs in the form of 7s. And there's one. No waiting on the turn.
We could still chop it.
4 or a 9 would get that done. And instead, a useless king.
That is brutal for Mark.
I'll tell you who it's even more brutal for. Everybody
Everyone
else in the
else.
field. It's always dehydrating to see Linus win a pot, isn't it? He ends looking for a bottle of water as he's still the boss stack.
So after getting outplayed from Linus, we find ourselves at the bottom of the pack with 10 players left. Blinds go through us and I find a pair on the button with about 5 big blinds. The hijack opens, but he was opening pretty wide. I am still very unsure of this spot given there's some ICM to consider, but as bottom stack I just didn't shy away from it. And we find ourselves at risk with just 2 outs on the final table bubble.
Grease?
Bad shape here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We do have a pay jump around the corner.
10th place money, 50,300. 9th, 60K. You know where the rooting interests of the remainder of this field lie, and they aren't on the Union Jack. That's for sure. 8-4 deuce, 7s. Still in front. No straight draw on the turn for the 3s, and the bell tolls for the Briton. He's got 2 outs once and an almost 2 million chip pot. Can he hit a set on the river?
Nice one.
No.
Good luck, guys.
And a wrap of the rail. The solid sportsmanship that we've come to expect out of all Triton competitors, as he says good luck, and we'll leave the 2 tables to merge into one. Randy, as our final table is set. Rubiton taking home that 50,300 payout.
Final table 9. Final table 9. Okay.
Tan
So,
getting the memo.
do we have a break or?
Should be.
Okay, boys. GG's. Finished in 10th, which on the surface is a bit annoying. But, I mean, I can't really fucking complain, can I? Check. I got a nice little card as well as 50 bags. Not bad for a day's work. Yeah, a lot of feelings. The good news is 1, I get to flick into the mystery bounty, which I'm going to play soon. 2, I get to watch the entirety of the stream of me on it, which is going to be fun seeing you guys sweat, because obviously I've not posted spoilers. And so yeah, I came 10th for $50,000, $50,300. Obviously biggest cash, fucking decent run, but not bubbled the final table. Stings a little bit. Fucking Linus with his Jack 4 off, the fish. But yeah, let me tell you something, guys. The most overwhelming part about this is not playing with like Linus and fucking Mateos, and it's not being on a feature table or whatever. The game stays the same. I actually feel really focused and just I feel like I play really well and it doesn't bother me. Your guys' support is just absolutely fucking everything. I can't express it in words. And I know I'm gonna get emotional when I can see all the fucking finger wags in the Triton stream now. And I'm going to see a lot of support, so honestly I can't tell you how much it means. Yeah, so I'm going to play the mystery bounty and hopefully that goes well. I will be updating, but guys, honestly, thank you for the support. It's fucking absolutely insane. And yeah, I've still got 2 more tournaments to go, so who says it's over? I don't really have much time to chill because I'm going to flick into the mystery bounty basically straight off the bat. And I think I'll just win that one instead. So after my biggest ever cash, I get a quick bite to eat and get straight back to it in the $20,000 mystery bounty. So this is the one I was looking forward to the most. As a degenerate myself, I absolutely love mystery bounty format. So again, I didn't post that many hands at the time and didn't have them saved, given that I knew people were sweating on the Triton Poker Plus app, but there was one really fun hand. So obviously I late regged this given that I was still in the 15k when it started. Blinds were 4,000, 8,000 at this point, and we start the hand with around 30 big blinds. We look down at a sexy looking king queen of hearts on the button and min raise to 16k. Small blind 3 bets to 55k, and I think we could just ram this, but again, I think this hand plays pretty well in position, and when we do call, it keeps in hands that we dominate as well. So I do just peel, and the flop comes down ace queen 9 with a couple of spades. Small blind c-bets 45k, and nothing to say here. We have a pretty easy call, I think. Turn comes a 4 of clubs, and the small blind checks, which we love to see. We go for the check back and see the 7 of diamonds on the river. Small blind checks a second time, and I feel as though we're going to have the best hand basically always here. Maybe there's a world where villain checks a hand like aces, blocking the top pair, or something like ace-5 suited, where he's got a weak kicker. But there's still a ton of hands like jacks, 10s, maybe like queen jack, that might just pay us off. So I shove for around 3/4 pot, and I remember villain used all of his time banks, which was, I'm pretty sure was like 7 of them. And after his last time bank, he finally calls, and we show king queen. He says nice hand and throws in his cards, but in all in situations at Triton, you do have to table your hand. So his hand is turned over, and he has king jack offsuit for king high. So I understand his call. He didn't have a spade either, so I guess I can have some like missed flush draws or jack 10 or something, but I just remember thinking like, God, I'm such a sicko for shoving second pair just for a guy to call with king high. I've just made another day 2. I am absolutely exhausted, but made day 2 of the mystery bounty. No bounties yet. Bounties have been in play for the last 3 levels or something. 30 left, 27 paid. Yeah, so 3 off the money. We have average stack. I don't think there's many super shorties, so the bubble might last longer than the 15k. I'm pretty sure it will because we're a bit deeper as well. And yeah, we'll just see how it goes. Another day 2 of a tournament. 20k mystery bounty. 3 off the money, we have average stack. A min cash is $18,000. It is 400k up top, excluding bounties, which a minimum is 10k. The big boy, 250 fucking thousand. So we have average stack, which is gonna be about 22 big blinds. Yeah, we'll see how we get on. The good news is, I think the bubble might last longer than yesterday, but with getting such a decent cash yesterday, there's like no pressure. Like, if I bubble, I bubble. Let's say I'd have bubbled the 15k, like this would be such a sweat, because I'd be like, I'd feel so sick if I bubbled it. But kind of not even asked. We'll see how we get on. So hopefully we'll get a nice cash. Let's even make a final table or just drill the 250k. Oh my God. Pretty sure it's a 250k and 3 100k bounties. So one time, going for my daily stroll. Hard life, I know. I mean, I'll tell you what, boys, what a fucking time to run hot. What a time to sun run. So yeah, hopefully we can get something going. And yeah. So I have made a second day 2 in a Triton super high roller event. 30 remaining with 27 paid, but this time there really wasn't a lot of short stacks, and so I knew the bubble was going to last longer than it did in the 15k. So the top bounty was $250,000, which is just insane. There were 3 $100,000 bounties, 5 50k bounties, 11 30k bounties, and 33 20k bounties. So we play a hand very early on where we had chance for a bounty. So blinds at 25k, 50k, falls to the button who has about 650k, and he open shoves. I actually remember thinking he had a little less here, so when I look down at ace jack off, I absolutely snap him off. I think I should have taken my time here, given that we're on the bubble, and, you know, maybe got a count. But either way, with the bounties in play, it's a call either way. If I knock this guy out, I win a minimum of $20,000. So I make the call, and unfortunately, villain has us pipped with ace queen. The board bricks out, and we lose a chunky pot, putting us as one of the shortest stacks in the tournament, just 3 off the money. And it doesn't take long before 2 players bust, and we are on the direct bubble. I haven't won a pot since. Blinds have cut through me, and I find myself with just 180k in chips. Blinds are 30k, 60k, and the big blind is fast approaching.
And it looks like that shortest stack in the room of the Brit, Mark Rubiton, has found its way all in.
Thank you for that, sir.
Uh-oh.
Lazaninkas, I believe.
How many do? In fact, it might not.
You will like it.
Can
I do?
You got 7 deuce? Oh, that is great. Dude.
Nice one. You have hair?
No, he's got 3 outs.
It's the customer, and interestingly, I think Puck and I had flatted the jam, and then Lazaninkas option out of the big blind, put the raise in, and shed Puck and I. And we saw 7 deuce here, Randy.
Yeah.
So I shoved my last 3 big blinds. The small blind actually called, and Gitis ISOs in the big blind with 7-2 off. So you hear me say to the dealer, not like this, but you probably don't hear Gitis. He says, yeah, but at least if you lose this one, you're going to have the greatest bad beat story of all time. But the 8 of clubs on the turn sealed it, so we more than triple our stack. Much needed on the bubble. There were a few all-ins after mine. I will leave a link in the description for the full day 2 stream from Triton. It's definitely worth a watch. But there was one all-in on the next table that I was sweating.
See some cards in front of Jalvier. That's Mike Takayama.
He got 2 outs, right?
The real Mike
The real Mike
Takayama, by the way, because you and I were in the booth and we were referring to Takayama.
One of Philippines' finest.
Yep. And he was not seated in 2 real hands here as ace-10 of clubs is going to be squaring off with 2 kings. Takayama looking for help, and king 6-4 certainly doesn't bode well for him. Might be time to draft a text and say, boys, we're on the wrong side of the bubble, but hang on. We do have 2 to come. Turn is the 8 of hearts, and now the ace-10 draws dead as Joao wraps the table.
King 6-4. 8 of hearts. River. The 3 of diamonds. Losing Mike Takayama.
Yeah, boy. And managed to get in the money. He was like, okay, let's spin it up. And we span it up. And just like that, we were in the money of another Triton event. What a life. Now we were in the money, players started dropping like flies, and it wasn't long before we were down to 3 tables. Our table broke, and I was one of the 2 lucky boys who made the featured table. And Gitis, who was the guy that had the 7 deuce off earlier, actually KO'd 3 players in one hand at one of the outer tables. So we were down to 19 players basically as soon as I made the feature. We did have less than 10 big blinds at this point though, so we were looking for a double.
Meanwhile, we are back now to a refreshed and revamped feature table. Vieira didn't go anywhere, of course. 8-9 offsuit in the hijack for him.
Yep, just bursted that bubble with kings against Mike Takayama.
You're like 7?
760.
Thank you.
Smith looking for a count. Rubiton's ready for him, by the way, if he decides to get frisky with the 10-3.
1-2, yeah.
This is as good as it gets if he can. Let's see.
All in.
Wow, what a spot for Mark Rubiton.
Yeah, we're going to have a snapper. Very matter-of-fact assessment there from Smith. 2 unders to the jacks. It's just 12%. Rubiton, by the way, found himself all in and at risk on the money bubble earlier.
He did. Held.
Yeah, sorry, 760 including, aren't you?
Was it pocket kings for a set of kings?
Apologies.
Was that his hand? Can't remember.
Would have shoved anyway.
Against the ace-10, I thought. No matter. Found himself here. And finds himself in good shape on the king-9 deuce board.
Good.
Yeah, Smith could be drawn dead on this turn.
He almost gets his random pair.
3 of hearts.
Don't do him dirty.
Means that there's a sweat for Rubiton, but no sweat with the king of diamonds showing up. And he'll get to double.
Oh.
Nicely done from the ACR Stormer. Normally plays smaller buy-ins. I think you want a package maybe to get out here.
Not really sure what the fuck these guys are doing, calling Jack 4 off and jamming 10-3 off, but maybe they just really didn't like me and wanted to bust me. I don't really care. We double to nearly 1.5 million in chips. And it was around this point where some of you will know our boy Easty decided to fire up the stream to rail.
Come on, let's fucking go. Come on. Come on. To 1.4, boys. Let's go. Let's go. We cover fucking bounties now as well. That's huge. That's absolutely massive.
Yeah, now some interesting ICM dynamics coming into effect the closer we get to the final table. Note the average stack as well, Ali. 21 bigs. There are a lot of bounties up for grabs and a lot of sub 10 big blind stacks as well. We could get down to the final table in a very
there, you know it's Saturday on your
quick pace.
No. Dan Smith wasting no time to get his stack into the middle. Jack 10 suited will be the one. And now Roland Rokita wondering whether or not he wants to do some bounty hunting for a bargain basement price, if you will.
That's one way of looking at it. 2.7 bigs. Min bounty, 20,000.
Well, he's going to create some protection for himself and Dan Smith by jamming over here, not looking to invite others to come along. And
yeah, a snap asking for a count. Does have the chip leader on his left.
what he's got is his mic clipped to the side of his hood, which, by the way, is a first-time experience for me. That is fantastic.
Yeah, trendsetter.
King 5 suited, deemed not the one.
Oh, well, hello.
Now this hand, I remember vividly thinking that I was just going to call super wide in the big blind. So I knew Rokita was going to shove like super wide. He had like 10 bigs, and I covered him by literally one 25,000 chip. So I could be playing for 2 bounties, which would be a minimum of $40,000. And then I look down at ace queen offsuit and have the easiest decision of my entire life.
Pretty lean.
Weasel gotta go bounty hunting. What a story this would be.
I cover you by 25,000.
Yeah.
Cashed his biggest ever buy-in tournament. FT bubbled 15k, and now Ali, 2 bounties up for grabs if he can just hold the ace queen.
Got 42% equity, and both of his opponents covered here.
And Smith super live with the jack 10.
King 7-4 though, as the pulse weakens for that jack 10. No diamond on board.
The good news is that Smith can't be dead on any turn.
I don't think I've ever seen a turn card that has made me so happy in my entire life. So although it gives Smith an open-ender, it means not only will I at least nearly double in the hand, but I also get my first bounty and a prize of at least $20,000. 8 on the river seals the scoop, and so now we've locked up a minimum of over $50,000.
Henry, and never mind the haul in terms of chips. It's those 2 bounties that have some real EV.
Yeah, 2 bounties and just another, I don't know, these ACR qualifiers, mate. First we had Ebony back in the Coin River Invitational, 200k in Cyprus. Now Mark going 2 for 2.
That's big.
And events cashed here. 15k final table bubble now. A very healthy stack with 14 players left in this 20k mystery bounty. Talk about seizing the moment.
So we're down to just 11 players at this point when João Vieira opens King Queen, and I look down an absolute monster pocket jacks. The action cuts away at this point to an outer table, but you know exactly where my chips are going. And with Martirosian busting, we are once again down to the final 10. João eventually makes the call, and so once again I'm at risk of being the final table bubble boy.
But back here at the feature.
Well, how about this for the biggest part of your tournament career? Twitch streamer Mark Robathan with the jacks. Looking to fade 6 outs twice.
So far, so good. 4 million in the middle. Board double pairs. No paint is all Weasel is thinking. And the 10 of diamonds.
Not this time, boys. We fade the river and win a pot of nearly 4 fucking million. But no time to relax as we pick up another monster soon after. And I'm going to let Easty take over for the commentary on this one.
Oh my god, Ace King! Come on. Don't do this to me now, not after this. Just clean stuff. Nothing silly. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh, oh my god! Hold! Oh my god, hold! Hold! Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking cry, hold! Hold! No queen! No queen! No queen, dealer. No queen. That's okay. That's okay. Oh fucking hell, I've lost one of my ears. No queen, dealer. No queen, no 9, no jack. No queen! No queen! Hold! Yes! Come on! Get in! Come on, boys! Get the fuck in! Let's go! We're actually gonna do this! We're gonna fucking do this, guys! Come on! Oh my god! Oh my fucking god! Literally chip leading the mystery bounty! Literally fucking chip leading Nokia Limitless! Oh my god! Oh my god! The boy's gonna do it, guys! He's gonna fucking do it! I can't believe what I'm watching! Oh my god!
This is where all of the carnage has been taking place, by the way. It's just like an exclusive right. As we see Hoi An with a couple of 9s up against a couple of 7s. Clean board for him.
Yeah, Huang, the player, all in at risk.
Vincent Huang, who is looking for a 7 and instead is shown a 3. And look at Victor Chong run off right away. He knows it is going to be time for a final table redraw.
A Triton Super High Roller Series final table. And I'm the chip leader. So we'd locked up $40,000 for 9th place and a minimum of another $40,000 in bounties. So I was actually insanely focused when I was playing at the tables, but when the table broke for a redraw, they explained where we need to look when we walked out to take our seat. And I swear, I nearly forgot how to walk. I was so nervous walking out. But in any case, I retook my seat and I was ready to bin some regs.
In event number 3.
There is a look at the breakdown officially as we head into final table play here in the 20K Mystery Bounty. Listen, Mark got himself to the top of this leaderboard off of 2 doubles in a row. It wouldn't take much for someone to dethrone him in similar fashion, so nothing about this a foregone conclusion. 40,000 locked up by the field, just shy of 400K, still up for grabs.
So the first hand was a really fun one for me. If you've got a good understanding of ICM, then you'll know that middling stacks have to be the most careful on a final table. So I was in the big blind in the first hand. I know, I run so bad. And Tim Adams was in the small blind. And he limps, and I remember thinking, before I even checked my cards, that I was basically just going to raise any 2 cards. Like, genuinely any 2. I actually wanted a worse hand, because 10-7 plays well enough to check back. I was kind of hoping for, like, 8 deuce off or something like that. But yeah, we came to play, boys.
With just 10-7.
Big fan of this from Mark. 3.3x from the big. Just really leaning into that middling stack of Adams.
And this says something to me, Henry, something comforting if that's your horse in this event, and it's that he is not letting the moment take hold of him when it comes to operating.
Yeah, it really does. He just seems so comfortable out there, Ali.
So I wasn't going to shy away on this final table. In fact, there wasn't a single point where I looked at what the pay jumps were. I just wanted to win. I think I put the pressure on pretty well. There's a hand where I 3-bet Pedro with ace-10, forcing him to fold ace-jack. And another one where I 3-bet king-6 suited. And Henry on the commentary mentioned something that some of you might already know.
Tell you what's relevant. There's a clip right here of Mark saying if he wins a Triton event, he's going to get a Phil Nagy tattoo tattooed onto his body.
I'll tell you what, I will get a tattoo of Phil Nagy's face somewhere on my body if I win a Triton event.
Sick 3-bet from Mark, by the way. Big fan of this. Hoi An, however, unfazed by the presence of the short stacks. Gonna make a call and, well, in great shape against Mark's holding. However, Mark, the pre-flop 3-better, 2.6 out there. A continuation bet from Mark would win it.
So, I mean, A6 suited should obviously be folding to the 3-bet here, given ICM implications, but white hand just gives no fucks. A C-bet on the flop gets it done, though, and so we retain the chip lead.
And he gets it through, and this is now the second data point for me, Henry, and I think you would agree that really sheds light on exactly what sort of frame of mind Weasel is in right now, and he seems dialed in the zone, if you will.
Yeah, that's the perfect way to put it. He does really seem dialed in.
So obviously I'm not going to post every hand that I play here. The full video is still up on the Triton YouTube. I will leave a link in the description for those that want to check it out. But I'll put all the important ones here, and this one was just way too good to leave out.
Whom he can collect a bounty, so pounces on it, and Gargnani's King-Jack in the small blind will be the first to evaluate the scene, and then Victor Chong is going to wake up with 2 queens.
I think we may have a 4-way all-in here, Ali.
Well, look, it only costs $8.50 for Gargnani to put King-Jack offsuit to work in the interest of picking up 2 blinds. And now Chong doesn't know that he's got these 2 queens, but knows that this could be a really good spot for him as he sweats it in with Gargnani.
He says.
Queen. That's all right. What on earth is going on, Ali?
That's the real story. Seldom do you see 4 hands on their backs in an all-in spot, as the 10-high board does provide some hope.
Which gotcha are you watching?
I'm not
saying.
He wants the 4 or the 5.
Okay. You call that a gotcha? Okay.
Yeah.
Optimistic, this guy.
Here's the turn card.
Okay.
Oh,
that's
Never easy.
that's not the card, though. Because the 9 will give Gargnani
we talked about the
the
straight
jack
being
high
dicey.
straight, so
Now you need the 6. You
that
need
wasn't the
last
direction
6.
that Malinowski was looking to build in.
Fold 1.
Yes.
Everyone's
He
still
needs a
drawing
6.
live.
Calvin needs a king or a 10. Gargnani needs a 9, and on the river,
Oh, you got
it
it.
is trip
Yes,
10s
that's
with a king kicker for Calvin, but Malinowski
Oh, this is going to be complicated.
is going to collect his own side pot and stay alive.
Yeah, no one goes over. So we see a 4-way all-in and literally nobody busts. But it does leave Pedro extremely short, and in his next big blind, he's basically forced all in.
A 7-0 here. Pedro in the big blind, I believe. Forced all in. Wonder if open jamming is just a thing here from the low jack.
We're going to think it over.
Yeah, nice.
You suspected as much.
So shoving here is just a fantastic play. Due to ICM, we get to force out a load of hands from everyone else that would otherwise call a raise. And having an ace blocks the strongest hands that opponents can have to call, and we're still going to have reasonable equity even when we do get called. I'm really happy I found this shove in game, given it was just the biggest spot of my life. But I was genuinely just so dialed in when I was playing. Pedro finds a pretty reasonable hand, considering he's basically forced all in. But we are ahead, so can we hold for another bounty?
Victor nodding as if to say we have outperformed the expected value of 2 random cards considerably, but we are still behind here. With 45% equity, the Brazilian's fate hangs in the balance.
I think he's had enough, Ali. I think he's done for the day.
Well,
Or maybe not.
gut shot, straight draw.
10 outs twice.
He wants to see artwork on the turn.
that guy says
Not there.
Lady Gaga.
Paint.
10 outs once.
GG, Pedro.
Not
So
there.
we score our third bounty and continue to hold the chip lead. And it's not long before we pick up yet another hand.
Well, Adam's interests are peaked with Queen Jack suited on the button, playing 2.8 million, which is 7th of 8 runners.
On.
Jams. What's Weasel up to?
Oh, well.
He's slicking in the small blind.
It's going to make the call in for us. The shortest stack with ace-9 in the big.
And nevertheless avoids the Weasel's burrow. As Adams has a 3-2 dog on his hands for his tournament life. 6.15 million chip pot. And we play Wheel of Fortune. Burn down, 3 off the top. A king high board, but a couple of hearts and a couple of sixes. Adams with the flush draw. 2 pulls at it. Here's the first.
Wow.
It's king's full.
King on the turn seals it, and we win a 4th bounty and a monster pot. I still wasn't thinking about like pay jumps here. I was just so focused on playing each spot as it came. Honestly, looking back, it's so wild to see me like how calm I am and how stoic I am, especially when you see how Easty was handling things.
Yes! Yes! Come on! Yes! Oh my god, come on! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! King ball! Oh my god! Send it! We've got so many big blinds! Oh my god! I literally said, guys, get me all in against Adams. 40 pigs. Everyone else has got 10. Oh my god, we're going to win the whole thing. Oh my god, we're going to win the whole thing.
It was also after this hand that Nick was asking Triton for permission to stream it rather than just watch it on the side.
We're in! We're fucking in! Come on! The power of community, guys! Let's fucking go! We're streaming it!
And with Easty and all the boys back home on the rail, it wasn't long before we go bounty hunting once again.
And he's gonna go
Right, guys, here we go.
Mark going for
This is going to have to do, guys. This is going to have to do.
Well, if he can connect with the board in the form of clubs, in the form of a queen or a 10.
Queen or a 10, guys. Queen or a fucking 10. Come on!
1,000 in bounties.
Queen 10! Oh my god! Oh my god! Hold!
Not 1, but 2 pair for the Brit.
No! Jack!
They're drawing to a jack and a jack only.
No jack!
7th. 1 card to come.
Come on! Get in! Come on! Come on, boys! Come on, boys! No, I get another one out. 5 bounties, guys.
So our friend Gitis bust Daniel Devores not long after, meaning we are down to 5 players. Obviously, most of my spots here that you've seen were just super easy. I did have one really tough one deciding whether or not to call a shove from Victor with King 5 suited.
Has cut them out at least.
And after some deliberation, I decided to fold. Apparently, it is the right fold according to Ben CB, who I asked about the spot. But 2 hands later, we were bounty hunting once again.
Probably best not to. No such thing as a stupid question, son. So Hoi An looks down at Queen Jack on the button. I mean, note the stack depths of these players now as the blinds have gone up to 250,000. 500,000 is Mark gonna go hunting for bounty number 6 here, Randy. King 7 of diamonds, a lot of hand.
Yeah, it's tricky though, because while Kian Hoi An is the shortest, he's not gonna jam random hands. Daniel Devores has got 10 million behind you. Something to think about. Can you imagine if he wakes up a hand, you're just down to 2 million in chips?
Yeah, 20 effective against DD, obviously. Something to take into consideration.
You're not closing the action. He's going to go for it.
Gangster.
This is the real true bounty hunter. Wow.
Not phased by being on one of the biggest stages in the world. Mark going for bounty at number 6, and more importantly, Randy, getting it in good to maintain the chip lead and ladder an additional 30,400 if he can hold with the King 7 of diamonds here. 5 to come and to get us down to 4. Not looking good for the Weasel fans out there as we see an ace-jack deuce board roll off. Hoi An flopping middle pair, needs to fade a king and a king only to double up.
We lose this one and do lose the chip lead, and now the new chip leader is one of the best MTT players around, Daniel Devores, and him being sat on our direct left is not ideal. Soon after though, Victor Chong doubles through Devores, which really evens the stacks up, and we pick up a spot to try and get our chip lead back.
This is all in for sure.
Good timing.
We really hope we don't get something marginal.
Simple.
Jabbing into 2 covering stacks, always intimidating, but he is gonna take the spot.
Let's play the math.
Oh my god!
Queen though, this is
Oh my god!
worthy of clashing 2 big stacks.
I think we're going to be flipping for the chip lead, Randy.
Oh my god, this is way too big!
Folding a hand this strong from the small, it is.
Oh my god!
The biggest spot of his career. There is Victor, who is.
Oh my god!
All in pretty much in the next hand.
It's only Victor's only got 30k, and we cover. We have to go for it.
Take this spot, it feels, and he covers him. He can collect a bounty as well. He's in a position of this hand that just dominates the button shoving range.
Good luck, my son. Please get there. Ace or a queen?
Mark.
Did anyone see the dead cards?
Biggest.
Ace, queen.
His career.
Ace or a queen? Come on, Mark. One fucking time, dealer. Come on.
Here we go.
Get there.
5 to come.
Fucking come on.
Lead.
Win one flip for the boys. We've moaned our whole lives for this moment. Queen, ace. Yes. No line. Yes. Come on, hold. Hold.
10. Randy.
We got diamonds covered. We got diamonds covered.
The running diamonds.
No 9. No 9. Oh my god, I'm going to pass out. No 9.
Running straight cards.
Hold. No 9.
On the turn.
Hold it.
Now drawing to a 9 and a 9 only to stay alive.
Hold it.
It's going to regain the chip lead.
Yes. Come on. Get the fuck in. Come on. Get the fuck in there, guys. Come on. Come on. What a hold. What a board. Our time is now.
So back to back.
Come on.
Tables. He was to go from 1 of 4 to 4 of 4.
What if he just opens?
Kings. Picking up the kings.
So if he steps up first, I believe, yeah. I mean, look, it's not out there. There's more than 0% chance, and there's a more than 0% chance that he wins some more chips here.
2 kings.
Pick up like king queen suited.
Yeah, and there's some rejammable stuff
Victor,
behind.
bounty time. No ace.
4,
No ace.
5 bigs.
Guys, just so you know, we win this. It's another 20k in a bounty and another $34,000. It's a $54,000 minimum ladder. No ace for $54,000. Oh my fucking lord, what are we doing here? No ace.
Just seems like his moment right now.
No ace. He doesn't need any more money. He's got loads. Hold. No ace.
This, by the way, has done so well.
None. Nothing like it. Not even like can be considered an ace. You bastards. We have clubs. We have clubs. Club. Club. Club.
Mark with the king of
Club.
clubs in hand.
Club me, dealer. Club my ass. Jack. Club. King. Please. Oh my god, please do it.
The turn now giving Mark a
Club, Jack, King, dealer.
29%.
One time, dealer, please.
To the river with 1 to come.
Do it. Do it.
Oh, nice, Randy. 5 of hearts.
That's so sick.
Four-handed.
So I can't really complain about the 3-outer given how hot I ran so far overall. But if you do watch the entire stream back, it's actually so funny how many times Limitless managed to suck out and stay alive in the entire tournament. But I think the poker gods were on our side for a change, and we pick up pocket queens in the cutoff the very next hand.
US waking up slowly. Good morning to those of you only just joining us. This is event number 3, the 20K mystery bounty. And
getting hit by the deck or what? Although he did lose to kings
I was about to say, yes, he is getting hit by the deck. Oh boy.
This can easily go in. Market's expected to raise a very wide range from the cutoff. And Limitless just doubled. So waiting for him doesn't even make that much sense. Why, he's going to go for 2 8s, and Market's in great position to be a massive chip leader.
I just can't believe what I'm seeing, Randy. The way this final table has played out, the 9-handed stalemate that just seemed to go on forever. The fact that all of these players have held the chip lead at one point. They've all been short stacked at one point. Now queens against 8s for 18 million chips.
So I've talked about how focused I was throughout the tournament, and it was only at one point did my mind ever wander, and that was this hand after the flop. So between the flop and the time that the turn was dealt, I realized what an absolutely fucking ridiculous spot this was. And I realized that if I hold here, I could win a Triton super high roller event.
Weasel just one card away from scoring another bounty. Ace of spades seals the deal for Mark Roberthan, claims bounty number 7, and in the process knocking out one of the world's toughest No Limit Hold'em MTT players in Daniel Forrest.
Oh my god, we've got the absolute lot. Oh my god, we've got the Mac Daddies. Oh my god, is it actually happening, guys?
Deep run.
DD out as well. DD out as well. What does it mean, guys? It means we're 3-handed with the overwhelming chip lead. We have locked up. We have locked up. Oh my god. We have locked up $324
on our screens.
$1,000 minimum.
1.35 million in Triton earnings. Mark again waking up with a monster on the button.
1.2.
Bumping up to 1.2 million. Do you think the poker gods heard, oh my word, Victor Chong has woken up with an absolute monster in the big, 3-handed.
Short stacks. Chip leader opening, expected to open everything. This is just the ultimate cool, and in such a short amount of time.
All in. Go on.
Snap.
Move all in and snap call from the ace king of Mark. And Randy, I couldn't agree more. It has been an incredibly short stint here in the booth to go from 7 to heads up in give or take an hour.
Yeah.
Well,
I wonder. I'm just hanging
that
around
queen
all day.
Mark Roberthan just 5 cards away from having one hand on the trophy. 654 rainbow. So far, so good for the Twitch streamer. To come into heads up with a 10-1 chip lead. Needs to fade. An 8 or a 3 would chop it. Queen would send the pot Victor Chong's way. Not to be on the 9 of diamonds river as we see Victor Chong double tap the table and assist the dealer.
Kill everyone.
True gentleman. Great sport.
Fucking loads of them, man. The distribution I had was just absolutely insane. I've never run so hot in my entire life. But I did ask for my genuine one time, so, you know, it's only fair. Shout out to Victor Chong, by the way. One of the nicest guys I think I've ever come across in poker. The dude was just genuinely super excited to be playing. And just like that, we were heads up. Heads up.
For a fucking Triton title. Oh my god.
We started with a 9-1 chip lead. Anyone that knows me well enough knows how much I want the trophy.
This could be it.
At this point, the money was like irrelevant. I'd locked up so much, I didn't care about the pay jump. I just wanted the trophy and the title.
6 bigs. And Malinowski going to be in great shape. Don't want to say it as if it's preordained that Mark's going to call, but he does. Flick in the 1-chip call. Cards on their backs. Hand number 2 of this heads-up match.
First time we play, he shoves 5 bigs, and we make the reluctant call and find ourselves with just 3 outs.
Should Malinowski find the hold, and on the A6 deuce rainbow board. Note the equity for Mark. Shrivel here. Now looking for running straight cards, and well,
that would be dirty.
Yes.
Running 10s?
I mean, no, I know he's running hot, but I don't know if he's going to be able to run this hot.
Never easy. 8 of spades on the river, however.
I didn't let it get to me. I knew I still had like a commanding chip lead, and so I wasn't going to let it deter me.
He's got a decent amount of chips to work with, actually.
Heads-up match on our hands, yeah, indeed.
13 blinds.
Jack 9 of clubs in the big. For Mark, potentially an open jam spot. For Malinowski.
Yeah, I think King 9 is definitely worthy of jamming.
2 hands later, though, Victor shoves again, and I make the call with Jack 9 of clubs, and once again, I find myself dominated. Now, this is where I started to be like, oh my god, am I really going to come second?
And if Malinowski can hold here, it's going to reduce the gap from the 9-1 chip deficit that he came in with to less than a 2-1 chip deficit, and going to find himself right back in the mix.
Jack me off, dealer. One time, jack me right the fuck off. Jack me.
And momentum.
I wish we had 8-7 of clubs right now, guys.
Going to double 66%.
I really wish we had 8-7 of clubs.
5 cards to come. Luca Vivaldi coming over to call the action out on this one.
Jack! 10!
Oh.
10!
Never easy. Queen 8-6.
10!
1 club.
He doesn't have heart backdoors covered.
Mark picking up an additional
10!
4 outs in the form of a gut shot. Backdoor clubs also available.
10 of clubs.
As the ace of diamonds rolls off on the turn.
Jack or a 10! Come on!
From being right back in this race.
Yes! 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 Come on! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Malinowski
Oh my
in second place.
Oh my god, the Jack on the fucking river, guys! We fucking done it! Oh my god, we fucking won the whole lot! Oh my god, we won the whole lot, guys!
Mystery bounty.
I cannot even tell you what was going through my mind at that point. Once the river hit and you realize it's over, it's hard to like even process. I'd spent the last 4 or 5 hours the most focused I'd ever been at any point in my entire life. And it paid off. I remember looking out in the crowd, seeing familiar faces, the ACR guys, like cheering and clapping. And I just didn't know what to do. I was just stood there like a moron.
9 bounties,
oh my god.
I believe, for the Brits.
Oh my god.
Pulled, as well as
I can't believe it, man.
390.
Oh my god, 396,000!
He's going to get for first.
Oh my god.
Get someone who looks at you like I look at my Triton fucking trophy.
Add a little something to your wrist. Lydia, please.
Thank you.
There it is, properly coronated with the 396K, the Shambhala bracelet, and the trophy. Let's hear it for the Weasel, Mark Rubbathan, your Event 3 champion.
There is a winner's interview of me on the full highlights, so I definitely recommend watching it if you haven't done so already. But guys, it wasn't even over yet. I had as many as 10 bounties, each containing a minimum of $20,000. So I'm not going to post all of it. Again, you can watch the entire thing on the Triton YouTube. But there was one pull that I think is worth putting in here. So as ungrateful as this might make me sound, after I'd won, I just wanted to get out of there. I was so overwhelmed. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to take it. And as ridiculous as this sounds, given that I stream for a living, I was really uncomfortable with all the cameras. So I was kind of rushing the openings, just wanted to get out of there, to the point where Ali actually asked if I'm okay.
You're not tilting, are you? You're going faster on this envelope.
I'm fuming, yeah.
I love
it's gold.
Gold. Tilted.
You tell it this way or the other way?
Yeah, that's good. All right, looks like 3 zeros. There's the comma, flip. One more 0. Okay, there's the 5. So we know that it's either 50 or 250, right?
Correct.
Could it be?
Could it be?
Could it be? No, 50,000.
So the 50k was the biggest we pulled. I pulled a total of 240k in bounties, meaning a total score of $636,000. Safe to say, my biggest ever score. All right, boys, lots to say. Don't really know where to begin, still processing everything. I need you guys to know that the support is everything. Absolutely everything. It's been such a fucking ride, and I actually can't believe how many people have been rooting for me, and it's unbelievably overwhelming. Last night, I didn't know what to do with myself. I've never felt so overwhelmed in my entire life, and it was literally all too much, so I couldn't even go out and get pissed. That's how bad it was. So I ended up just sitting in my room with a beer and just fucking, yeah, I was an emotional wreck, to say the least. You guys need to know the support means basically it's going to make me sound ungrateful, but more than the money. Speaking of money, for those, I know there's some people on here that don't play that much poker and stuff. In poker, there's a lot of selling action and like swapping and stuff like that in higher buy-ins. So I don't get all of the money that I actually cashed for, which is not really, I don't know, a popular thing to say in poker terms, I guess, but just for full transparency, I just want to make it clear that like I cashed for £500,000, but I don't get like all of that, so I won't discuss exactly how much I get or whatever, but just so you guys know, I'm not going to lend you a fucking fiver. So yeah, I've still got a few days out here, and well, I've got about a week out here, I think. So I think I'm going to fire the 25k turbo, and that's going to be everything. Not going to play the 50k today, which I probably would have done if it was tomorrow, but I'm pretty fucking exhausted. Yeah, so your support is basically everything. The other everything is this right here. Anyone that knows me, that's been following me long enough, you know how long I've wanted a fucking trophy, and I've got one in a Triton Super High Roller. What the fuck? All right, boys, last day here in Vietnam, last walk along the beach. What can I even say? What can I even say? Did I even expect this, even 1%? No. It's too much, man. Holy shit. Can you imagine actually shipping a Triton? I don't even know what to say. I cannot fucking wait to get home. I am so exhausted. It's been so emotionally draining, something like this. I can't explain it in words, man. Like, it's just too much. It's so overwhelming. And your support, guys, is fucking everything. I hope you know that. I hope you know how much it means. This is for you guys, man. I can't believe you guys got to watch me, like, fucking ship a Triton, like... It's just the best content ever. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I wish I could have shown a little more personality at the final table and when I'd have won in the interview. But everything, I was so stunned, man. I didn't know what to say. I'm not recording any content for a couple of days either, just because, you know, I've been busy with some interviews and stuff. But other than that, I've needed time to fucking relax. It's so emotionally draining. Just, I don't know how to describe it, man. It's so much. Guys, your support is everything. Anyone that's watching this video, everyone that supported me over the years, whether on Twitch or YouTube or even on Twitter and Instagram, just anywhere, all the messages, all the support, it means everything. These words barely even can express how I feel and how much it means to me. So we'll give away some money, and hopefully that's, I don't know, a little token just to say, boys, thank you. It's been a fucking ride. So yeah, GG's from me here in Vietnam at the Triton Super High Roller Series, coming back a fucking champion. The things you love to see. A little bit of sunburn as well, but we take it. And yeah, we'll see where this takes us, guys. I don't know what's going to be the plan, but I cannot fucking wait to get home and stream for the fucking boys. And then as soon as I'm at the table, I feel, it doesn't matter what table I'm at, I feel like I belong at the poker table because I know what I'm doing, and I've always had confidence in my ability. So I've always thought, not necessarily that I belong at the high stakes per se, but just that I can battle with the best of them. Like, I've always thought that I have the ability to battle with the best of them. And it's really nice to showcase it and kind of prove to myself and other people that, I mean, obviously to win a tournament, you do just have to run really good, but you've also got to know what you're doing, so.